So we're going to talk about how to light coals to prepare incense in a thurible. We have our little setup here. We have a brazier here with one charcoal to put in it. And these charcoals you normally buy, this particular brand is 3 Kings, and they're quick lighting, so they have a fine layer of gunpowder on the outside. So you want to be careful when you're cooking the coals, but it's not as dangerous as it might sound. So we've got our one coal here. We have a thurible. This is a small thurible with not room for much more than one coal in it. We have a boat here with grains of incense. We'll get to that in a minute. And what I would normally do is start with lighting a taper of some sort. And then have a pair of tongs to handle the coals. And often you would light 3, if not 4 coals if you have a sizable enough thurible, but in this case we're just going to do 1. And holding the coal with the tongs, light, and at some point it will start often to spark. It will be obvious when it kind of catches. Like that. So you can see it's sparkling there. It's not ready though. And now I'm going to go ahead and get the other side too. So in terms of lighting, that's about all you need. I'm going to go ahead and blow this out. And now the coal itself needs to cook. So what I would do next is transfer it to the thurible. The chain on this one is a little unwieldy, so let's take just a minute to close that. If I can get the chains on this correct. One thing to be careful about is the thurible. It seems like an obvious point, but the thurible is hot. It's a little barbecue pit. So be very careful when handling that. And so what I'm going to do is just let the coal cook in here, and I'm just going to swing it gently. And often this will take 3 to 4, maybe 5 minutes. So we're going to let this cook, and we'll come back when it's cooked. As you can see, the coal has cooked down quite a bit now, so it has a thin white layer of ash around the outside, and if you look really carefully, you can see below that layer of white red, and that's the coal is really cooked underneath there. This is basically the way you want it to look when it's ready to put incense on it. One other trick that you can use, so all I've been doing essentially is swinging this. And normally you'd have 3 or 4 coals in here and take about 5 minutes to get the coals really oxidized. You can also very carefully blow on the coal to speed up that process a bit as well. So you can see we've got some grains of incense here in the boat and a little spoon. What we're going to do is grind this up a little bit. You really want a mix of coarse and fine grains. So we're just going to transfer it here. And some people will even use a small coffee grinder, but this is always effective, so I'm going to device. So you can see there's a little more powder. I'm getting there, still some big chunks. A little better, just more powder. You don't want too much powder because that will burn quickly, and then you'll get a lot of ash in the air, and that creates problems for people. I think this is a pretty decent blend. I'm gonna give it one more. I think that's good. A couple of precautions again. You can never remind one enough that this thurible is really, really hot. It's a little barbecue pit. So, particularly when handling the thurible, anything that touches the base, which is where the coal is cooking, is going to be really hot. So when you're holding the chain, keep your hand high enough up so you're not touching anything, any of the thurible. It's also a really good idea to have a pitcher of water handy whenever you're cooking coals. You're playing with fire, literally. So now we want to do proper disposal of the coals, which is obviously very important. So I have the spoon here, I have a bucket, which is set aside for this purpose, and some water here. So I'm just going to scoop out the ash and remaining coals. You may not be able to see, but they're still glowing. So sometimes it looks like they're finished, but if you tap on them, you can see they're still glowing. And that's where you want to be careful and make sure all of that is extinguished. So really dig around in the embers with a spoon and break it up, and you can see what's still glowing, and try to get all of that out. So now I'm just going to pour water on all of this. You can see I'm going to pour some as well on the ground here, in case any got there. One final thing is to properly store away the thurible itself. So we have a special cabinet here in the BTS sacristy, as you can see, in case there would be any type of fire or flames that should be contained in here. But we just have our thuribles hanging in here. So you want a safe space to store the thurible, which is still going to be very hot after you've burned incense.